Good morning. Welcome to Asante Blowout on Asante Television Network. This is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders analysis. In the headlines for the first is from Anambra State. NAFDAC raids markets confiscate fake drugs. In the Federal Capital Territory, signed South Development Commission Bill. This is from PANDEF, urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the education sector, JAMB reverses 18-year admission benchmark. Under the security sector, 800 ex-Boko Haram fighters undergoing de-radicalization. Drug abuse, government embraces mandatory tests for appointees, employees from the NDLEA. And finally, the UK PM vows to clamp down on illegal foreign workers. We're open for advert placement, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our and socials, on Facebook and YouTube, on Asante Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, on Asante TV Network, on Twitter, on Asante TV Net, which is live on our website at www.asante.net.org.tv. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we will introduce our guest here with us. Just stay with us.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
see, what has become the outcome of that. I quite agree with you that reading the markets is not enough. Commensurate punitive measures are equally needed to serve as a deterrent to all those who are in the habit of importing and also manufacturing fake drugs. I mean, like you rightly said, we have the original, and what they usually do is they try to come up with something that is somehow close to what a lot of people will feel is the original and all of that. But looking at the proposal, the proposed bill for, I think it's not just life imprisonment. I think what they were proposing is even capital punishment, the death penalty. I think for me, it's still not a bad one. Okay, we will not continue to allow these selfish business people to put the lives of Nigerians in harm's way. It's not when you take a gun or a knife or a dagger to kill somebody that you've committed murder. If you are selling poison, for me it's poisonous substance, even if it doesn't kill you immediately, it kills you slowly. So that could equally be termed as homicide, that's murder. So the National Assembly should equally look at all the variables, the pros and the cons, extensively, deliberate on that matter and come up with a lasting solutions to the problem. Because as far as I'm concerned, like you also rightly pointed out, it has become an unending situation where people bring in fake drugs. It's not just today. If you could still recall when the former NAFDAC DG, the late Professor Dora Akunyili, she equally had a serious, war with some of these importers of fake products. Here we are today again, they are still there. So for me, I think commensurate punitive measures, like I've said, if the death penalty, which is the capital punishment, if it's what is going to deter the importers of these poisons, fake products into this country, giving Nigerians, man, woman, and child, poison, to consume, then I think it's not out of place.
Thank you on that, Mufasa. Well, joining us is another guest. There is a public policy analyst. Is always our regular here, and one phenomenal person is Mr. Ayong Ayotamuno. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Good morning. You're welcome.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Please, I also love to get your thoughts concerning this from NAFDAC raiding market and confiscating these fake drugs and the harmful things it has done to us, to Nigerians, because I could have actually consumed most of these drugs unknowingly, and they sell them out to most of these pharmaceutical stores that we go to buy from. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please.
Well, this one is a major one. While the discussion was on, my mind was even going to the suppliers, the supply points. In fact, there's a thin line between the manufacturers and the suppliers. Apart from what you have in the market here, you know that our people are also being found complicit, at least in the fact that they travel to outside the country to some of the places where these drugs are produced, and even ask the people to produce a lower quality. And over time, you also know that it could be medical, in the area of medical drugs. It could also be of beverages, even in the area of beverages of all kinds, including plus alcohol. We can't run away from it. So it is those people that my mind quickly went to when the discussion was on. How now that legislations are being made, like Mufasa mentioned, they contemplated death sentence, but I think currently the point we are is life imprisonment. That is where we are. So we have to look at the different points of supply, and then also demand, the points of demand, so that we deal with the two, because the impact is we can see it all around us, all these issues of organ failure,
Yeah.
and so on. And even beyond that, issues of mental health that have also come up. And we are not saying that mental health couldn't come up as a result of pressures that people are going through in their daily living, but drugs have also issues of mental health that we currently have, and it's a good thing that credit to the Nigerian health system, because they are beginning to integrate the issues of mental health, you know, into the health systems of this country, from the primary health care. In fact, the entire health structure now is looking at the issues of primary health and of mental health. So we have to look at it. It's a good thing that now they have gotten the courage, you know, after the death of Professor Dora Kiuli. So many things went. It's as if there was a drawback. There was a drawback, but with what we saw in this, where NAFDAC carried out raids into markets, into areas where things are being manufactured, especially in markets.
Do you think that will curb this manufacturing processes that's been going on?
Yeah, of course. Why they know that that they are not being accommodated, there's no space for them, and that there's pressure continuously on them. They definitely, as a businessman, you also have to think of alternative means of livelihood, alternative means of production. Because not only are they arrested, but prosecution also follows, in addition to closing down on those shops. But beyond that, I think we need a very general orientation. Our people need to be more patriotic. Our people need to be more patriotic in terms of dealing with one another. We know that all these are as a result of the monetization of everything, that you know, the craze for wealth, the craze for money is what has generated all this. So
consume, we do not, they repackage them in foreign packs that we feel are the authentic ones, and oftentimes we do not know. There are some of the drugs that actually have that code, the code that you could text.
Yes.
But we notice that they've actually started imitating the same thing.
not just imitating.
So what's the possibility that you're sure that you're actually consuming the right drug?
Even some of these patent medicine dealers, you know, especially when it has expired. When it has expired, if you don't check very well, you know, the citizens also need considerable enlightenment to know
the differences.
the processes of even checking these things. They will consume. They have to be intentional, you know, in checking the expiry dates. But we also know that in some pharmaceutical stores, when the drugs are expired, they
clean them off.
Clean them off. You know, they just clean them
Write new ones.
And extends the expiring date.
Yes.
So does it mean that the one that has the code that you have to text should be the one that NAFDAC should, you know, implement, that every pharmaceutical store that has that drug producers should, you know, inculcate that into their drugs? Because oftentimes we notice that most of those drugs that we buy do not have that unseen code that Nigerians have to scratch and then to confirm if it is original or not. Is it that this is something that NAFDAC needs to put in place?
That NAFDAC needs to, and I think even the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, in cooperation with NAFDAC and others, should be doing that. In fact, all regulators should be looking out for that, and we believe that at least if we can reduce to the barest minimum
Aside the kidney failure and internal organs that you mentioned, these fake jokes are actually cause blindness, deaf, hearing problems and whatnot. So this
also gender-based violence would also be as a result of, in fact, they trigger and escalate violence in our systems.
So we just hope that this life imprisonment that the National House of Assembly has tried to, put up with will be implemented. It will not just be like one of those talks that we hear and nothing is done about it. Because this is like he stated, is not about carrying a dagger to kill someone. This is more like an indirect means of committing murder.
They should also, as a matter of fact, they should also walk the talk. Not too long ago there was the incidence of the NDLA actually under enforcement.
Okay.
Raiding a particular senator's house.
Oh, okay.
And we are also having drugs. They were also doing drugs. And after they arrested them, he actually came out in defense. He actually came out and started making some statements against the drug law enforcement agent. In fact, when these issues came up in the National Assembly, he was one of those who actually came out very strongly against it. And they had to throw up the reasons that could be responsible for him acting against the bill. So we should be able to walk the talk. If you're honorable, you should be honorable all around you, including those that are working with you. If you're a senator, you should also be seen to be somebody that is occupying a respectable position.
Thank you so much in that, Mr. Ayotamino. Well, moving forward, Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, the apex socio-political body of the South-South geopolitical zone, has urged President in Abuja. PANDEF's National Publicity Secretary Olorugun Obiuwebi Omomimi said the forum issued a strong statement at the end of an emergency meeting held on February 5, calling on the president to act swiftly. Reading from the communique, Omomimi warned that withholding assent to the bill risks creating feelings of exclusion. If the bill's passage would promote comprehensive regional development and complement the work of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The group warns that continued delay could destabilize the peace and conducive environment critical to Nigeria's oil and gas production. The forum also urged President Tinubu to restore the NDDC to its previous designation as the Oil Minerals Producing Areas Development Commission. PANDEF argued that this change would clarify the Commission's mandate and prevent confusion with the proposed SSDC. PANDEF demanded that the next chief executive of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited should come from the Niger Delta. They noted that many qualified individuals from the region have been overlooked, calling for fairer representation. If we recall, I'll start with you, Mr. Mufasa, that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has actually signed into law the North Central Development Commission, and then now we're having the South-South calling out for the South-South Development Bill, BANDEV, the Niger Delta region calling for the South-South Development or Commission Bill. Do you think this is something that will be considered by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
For me, I usually ask, some of these agitations by the various interest groups in all the regions, especially the Niger Delta region, PANDEF. At times I ask what's the essence, because I feel that we've not really been consistent, in our agitations and demands,
Do you think the North Central agitated for this?
It's apparently all the geopolitical zones of the Federation have been given their own development commission, okay. And maybe for the purpose of expediency or for the purpose of bringing development to the people. I'm aware before now we have the Niger Delta Development Commission and the Northeast Development Commission because of the effect of the Boko Haram and some other devastating effect of, you know, the terrorism and all of that. But PANDEF as a group, you know, I feel they've lost it when, you know, they've not been able to follow through, you know, certain agitations. It seems as though when they follow to a certain level, they jump from there to another one, and, you know,
no results,
no logical conclusion, no results, nothing. NDDC was established, you know, a couple of years back, you know, decades back, by the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. And the mandate of the NDDC was to ensure that development gets to the nooks and crannies of the Niger Delta. In fact, they have their own budget, you know, they are giving funds and all of that. But the activities of the NDDC, you know, has not really translated to actual development of the region. And all this while, all the MDs and the boards and all of that are members of the Niger Delta. PANDEF are seen, in fact, they've been seen, all these commissions, Niger Delta Commission, Amnesty Commission, Niger Delta Ministry. What has all of this brought to the life of the people of the Niger Delta positively and significantly?
Plenary sessions, reaching out to other legislators across the country to have support, you know, for that particular bill. So I think they have to look at the process again instead of issuing press statements. I don't think that press statements threaten anybody. Whatever the National Assembly will do, the National Assembly will do in a very neutral manner, and based on what is presented to them, they will make sure that they legislate upon that law. But like I said, it is a bill perhaps distinct from that of what they call it now, NDDC. NDDC is for 9 states. From Ondo down to Cross River, all of them they are NDDC. And just to define it, it's not that other states have not benefited. They have benefited. They have in alphabetical order. That is how the law makes it.
They have benefited, like he stated, with the street lights and including transformers.
I'm coming in terms of leadership first.
Okay.
All of them. They take their turns.
Okay.
And the Akwa Ibom had its own fair share of, in fact, there are some key positions there. Projects, director of projects, you have the DFA, which currently River State is holding.
Okay.
You have the MD, and you have very strategic positions that are there, including that of the chairman. I remember when was from Abia State, was also chairman of that Development Commission. So it's a rotatory thing in alphabetical order. Particularly that have PhD issues, then you will know that this lighting of the Niger Delta project has been of very tremendous help. At least people now have a sense of belonging. People, it has improved security. People, rather than once it is 6 o'clock, you are packing your articles of trade, you know, into your house and then remain there in darkness. At least those street lights provide some electricity, and you also see that young people, you know, have their moonlight activities, you know, at least the reasonable points. So for me, it has improved security. It has also lit up the environment such that we're able to know who is crossing from one backyard to the other. It has exposed all that, but that is not to say that it is enough.
Okay.
There are major projects. Those street projects that are at best things that local government should be able to do. But now local governments renege on what they are.
The financial autonomy has not been fully implemented. I think there's a
Because
timeline
I'm not really aware about it.
They've not.
Because I know it's
You know, they give possible that, okay, they might, okay, agree with them that, look, these are party policies of what we have agreed to do with the people.
Okay.
The state government, that's through cooperation. They can direct them on one or two things to do and retain the party, the popularity of the party in that state. But it is against the laws of this country for anybody to tamper with local government funds. So I still stand on my point that those projects are projects that at best should have been allowed the local governments to do. Why the other one, that is Ondo, will also be part of the Southwest Development Commission. But I think it also goes to the issue of sincerity of purpose. Do we need all these development commissions? And if at the points where these laws were being made, in fact, it is the creation of the Northeast Development Commission that actually brought up most of these things.
Yes,
To help them recover from the ravages of war, terrorism and banditry. So once they gave to them, without putting a time limit as to how many years of the South, which the Breast Commission, they will have the Breast Commission, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, and Delta. The commission by Ambassador Joe Keshi. We have that commission in place, but because of partisan influences and loyalties, that commission had not functioned properly, and it's been there right from the first administration of the Fourth Republic. I think it was created around 2002, 2003. It has been there, but almost comatose now.
Thank you on that, Mr. Yotamna. Thanks so much, Mufasa. Well, we're moving forward. Examinations. As the board had opened the exceptionally brilliant window for such candidates, he noted that while the examination body had enforced the minimum age requirements for any student into tertiary institution at 16, the need for below 16s to cease for the UTME necessitated by the number of rare exceptional students. We will not be going forward with the 18-year admission benchmark. We will go with 16 years, and we are going to meet with the Joint Admission Matriculation Board and others on that. This will also be exceptions for Gifted 24. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, announced the reversal of the 18-year admission benchmark for tertiary institutions to 16 years. The former Minister of Education, Professor Tai Maman, in July 2024 announced a ban on admissions for candidates under the age of 18 into tertiary institutions in the country. This is more like a contrary heads. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Mufasa, quickly, please.
Well, I'm not surprised with this, back and forth, policy somersault. It's not quotient. Now, I agree that there are kids who are exceptionally brilliant. At age 14, you can sit for JAM, and you and I know that after you've passed your JAM, the next step is to go into the university. Now, how fully developed is the child's emotional quotient? We have a society where everything is moving so fast. Kids are unduly exposed to all manner of harmful, substances, the internet and what have you. Currently, the level of crime and criminality hands above your ears and all of that. There are certain ages that, because they know that at this stage, you can handle certain pressure. But even now, then there was nothing like internet that is below 15, 16 years to the university. How well do you think that child can be able to, to control certain form of pressure?
And that's the same thing.
That is why initially
there was a law that was passed that before you get into the higher institution, you have to be up to 18.
Where is the law? I don't know which law, which of the assembly that passed.
It's
as a law. I'm not aware. We learn everything.
You're eligible to get to write JAM and UTM
But you will not be admitted into the university.
You will literally, when you write jam, would you just write it and keep it?
That is what we are saying. You know, we are on the same page. When you write the exams and you passed, you get up to the required handle it. There are kids that come from very fantastic background, fantastic home training.
A good educational background.
Not even the education, I'm talking about home training, moral upbringing.
Okay.
Because that is the most important thing.
Okay.
That good moral upbringing. They get into the university at that very young age. And you find that at that point, they just turn out to be something else. Because they couldn't withstand the pressure. The maturity is not there. So for me, let us not be jumping from one. We need to sit down. JAMB, the university, and all the relevant stakeholders in the sector should sit down and think and come up with something viable. Not all these policies somersault. Okay. It was just barely a month ago that now. So let us know what we want and work towards achieving it as a nation that wants to advance.
Thank you on that, Professor. Mr. Yongai Tamono, I'm sure you're aware that the federal government has reversed the 6
of course, it's possible that a child preparing for JAMB could as well concentrate on, the JAMB exam, past question papers and so on, and maybe out of it might be fortunate to see a repetition of those questions and arrive at the answers to get. But the question again is, while you apply to public institutions, do you apply the same to private institutions? We are the children of the rich people. We are a tailor-made thing. We are, every time you are guiding the child is at home. Is at home with you. Especially this period when, in fact, if you expose the children so much, children are even denied, relating with their uncles, their religion. Defining it, this one is witchcraft, this one will do this. So there's so much restriction. It's not like the way it was, where a child is the property of the whole community. Like we used to have. We could stay anywhere. If you see a child doing anything, in fact, the whole society was responsible for the moral upbringing of the child. Today, if you throw a child, if it's not properly,
through all of them, those that were found culpable face the books, and those that are going to be radicalized go through the process. The people going through the program right now, about this 800 in batches, and these are the people that have been sieved through the entire legal process before they are now brought to the center, he said. If I may ask, let me start with you, Mr. Yongai Tamona. Do you think this is actually the right one? Because oftentimes when they get this amnesty, sometimes they could be paid attention for some period of time, and afterwards they start making out noise that they have been abandoned by the federal government. Do you think this is also going to be one of it, or this is something that will be put in place? Boko Haram, these are the fighters that from Goodluck Jonathan down to Buhari, and now it's been a continuous process. Well, I would love to get your thoughts on this, please.
Well, it's a fairly large number, and it's heartwarming that they have arrested this whole number, about 129. The system functions, and they are agents to those that are outside. Okay. So we are saying we have had narratives like that.
Let me hear from Mr. Mufasa. Well, because you talked about how they were actually surrendered, and how they were how in your word you said how did they profile them? Because there was a time that the military actually come out to say that it is difficult to get to Boko Haram people because they decided to mingle with the